Power Bond. Card type, spell, property, normal. Fusion summon one machine fusion monster from your extra deck using monsters from your hand or field as fusion material, and it gains attack equal to its original attack. During the end phase of the turn this card is activated, you take damage equal to the amount of attack gained from this effect at the time of the summon. Card trivia, Power Bond. This card appears in the artworks of Banish Reactor and Three of a Kind. The welding torch in this card's artwork appears in the artwork of Power Return. This is the signature card of Zane Truesdale and Cyrus Truesdale, which also represents the bond between the Truesdale brothers in the Yu-Gi-Oh! GX anime. The card's artwork depicts two separate pieces of metal being welded together via the process of welding, reflecting this card's effect of fusion summoning a machine fusion monster. The welding appears to be done using an oxyacetylene torch, which is interesting as it is used to cut metal instead of welding it, though it is still used for welding thicker metal together. This is the first card in Yu-Gi-Oh! Rush Duel other than Fusion to perform a fusion summon. Card appearances, Power Bond, Yu-Gi-Oh! GX. Power Bond was given to Cyrus Truesdale by Zane Truesdale when they were younger. Season 1. In Episode 7, Cyrus Truesdale draws this card during his duel against Jaden Yuki. Cyrus could have used this card to summon Steam Gyroid, but he felt unworthy to play this card, as Zane had told him, and instead activates Polymerization. This proves to be a mistake for Cyrus, as this allows Jaden to defeat him. After the duel, Jaden checks Cyrus's hand and states if he had played this card, he could have won. Cyrus states he couldn't do so due to Zane scolding him previously for foolishly trying to play this card in a duel. This card is also seen on a flashback Cyrus has when he remembered Zane scolding him for trying to use this card recklessly. During his duel against Gorasuke, Cyrus was going to use this card to fusion summon Steam Gyroid, but Zane interrupted the duel as he knew Cyrus's attack would have been cancelled by Spellbinding Circle, which would have immobilized Steam Gyroid and prevented from attacking, which would have caused Cyrus to lose due to this card's last effect, inflicting damage to Cyrus equal to the original attack of the fusion summoned monster at the end phase. As such, Zane quickly gave a rare card, Breaker the Magical Warrior, to the bully to ensure that he will not tell anyone about this duel. Seeing how rare the card is, the bully accepts the deal. Since then, Cyrus has felt unworthy of playing it. In Episode 8, Cyrus continues to look at this card in his room, and he continuously believes that this card will make him lose the tag duel for him and Jaden in many ways possible. Cyrus, as such, decides to leave the academy, but he is stopped by Jaden and Chumley Huffington before he can leave on a raft. Disgusted by Cyrus's attitude, Jaden challenges Zane to a duel. Zane uses this card during his duel against Jaden. He banishes this card from his deck via the effect of Different Dimension Capsule. On the last turn of the duel, this card returns to Zane's hand. Zane then activates this card to fuse the two Cyber Dragons on the field with the Cyber Dragon in his hand in order to fusion summon Cyber End Dragon. Due to this card's effect, the attack of Cyber End Dragon is doubled, which makes its attack 8,000. The duel ends with Zane winning the duel, and even though Jaden lost, the duel was enough to get Cyrus some of his confidence back. The card also appears in a flashback Jaden has when he notes that something must have happened between Cyrus and Zane to have made Cyrus not allow himself to use this card back in their practice duel. This card also appears in the flashback Cyrus had when he notes to himself that Zane duels by considering his opponents and dueling with any possibilities. In Episode 11, Cyrus uses this card during his tag duel with Jaden against the Paradox Brothers. During the duel, Cyrus gains the confidence he needed to play this card, which was thanks to Jaden. Cyrus then activates this card to fuse Jaden's Elemental Hero Tempest with UFO-Roid in order to fusion summon UFO-Roid Fighter. Due to the effect of UFO-Roid Fighter, its attack becomes equal to the combined original attack of the fusion material monsters used to summon it, which was 4,000. Due to this card's effect, the attack of UFO-Roid Fighter is doubled, which made its attack 8,000. In episode 23, Cyrus offers this card to Jaden when he was trying to prepare his deck for the duel against the, at that point, unknown North Academy representative. In episode 32, Zane uses this card during his duel against Camula. He uses this card to fuse his 3 Cyber Dragons together and fusion summon Cyber End Dragon. Due to this card's effect, the attack of Cyber Dragon is doubled. Cyber End Dragon then attacks Vampire Lady, but Camula activates Red Ghost Moon to end the battle phase and increase her life points by the attack of Cyber End Dragon. Zane then activates Defusion to send Cyber End Dragon to the graveyard and special summon his 3 Cyber Dragons from the graveyard. This negates the effect of Red Ghost Moon since Cyber End Dragon was removed from the field. On the end phase, this card's final effect inflicts no damage to Zane as Cyber End Dragon was no longer on the field. In episode 51, Zane uses this card during his duel against Jaden. He uses this card to fuse his 3 Cyber Dragons together and fusion summon Cyber End Dragon. Due to this card's effect, the attack of Cyber End Dragon is doubled. In the next episode, Zane tributes Cyber Kirin to avoid taking any effect damage this turn. On the last turn of the duel, Zane activates this card to fusion summon Cyber End Dragon by sending the appropriate fusion material monsters from his hand or field to the graveyard. Zane then activates Cybernetic Fusion Support to banish the 3 copies of Cyber Dragon from the graveyard and use Cybernetic Fusion Support as the substitute for the fusion material monsters used for the fusion summon. This card then fusion summons Cyber End Dragon. Due to this card's effect, the attack of Cyber End Dragon is doubled. In the first above-mentioned episode, this card appears in a flashback Jaden has when he wonders if Zane used a different dimension capsule to banish this card like in their last duel, and is planning to use the same strategy he used in that duel. In the first above-mentioned episode, this card appears during the duel between Zane Truesdale and Jaden Yuki, where it was briefly seen in Zane's deck after he activates Future Fusion. Season 2. In episode 56, Cyrus realized that he was afraid of being left behind by others, and that his low confidence was crippling him, which would affect Cyrus when he duels against Missy. Because of all that, he gave this card to Chaz Princeton, who gave this card to Jaden in order to prove to himself and others that he didn't need to rely on others to win his duels for him. After Cyrus defeats Missy, Jaden returns this card to Cyrus. In episode 57, Zane uses this card during his duel against Aster Phoenix. He uses this card to fuse the 2 Cyber Dragons in his hand together and fusion summon Cyber Twin Dragon. Due to this card's effect, the attack of Cyber Twin Dragon is doubled. On Zane's end phase, this card's final effect inflicted damage to Zane equal to the original attack of Cyber Twin Dragon. In episode 65, Zane uses this card during his duel against Mad Dog. He activates this card to fusion summon Cyber End Dragon by sending the appropriate fusion material monsters from his hand or field to the graveyard. Zane then activates Cybernetic Fusion Support to banish the 3 copies of Cyber Dragon from the graveyard, and use Cybernetic Fusion Support as the substitute for the fusion material monsters used for the fusion summon. This card then fusion summons Cyber End Dragon. Due to this card's effect, the attack of Cyber End Dragon is doubled. Mad Dog then activates Slime Ball to destroy Cyber End Dragon and gain life points equal to the attack of Cyber End Dragon. In episode 66, the card appears in a flashback Jaden has when he sees Wheeler as Zane, which makes Jaden remember his first duel against Zane. In episode 83, this card appears in one of Shepard's flashbacks. It was one of the 5 cards that was in Zane's hand when he was practicing on trying to summon Cyber End Dragon. In episode 95, Jaden adds this card to Cyrus's deck before he duels Zane, as Jaden claims to Cyrus he is worthy of using it against his brother. He explained to Jaden that he would include it in his deck when he could use it in a respect duel. Cyrus uses this card during his duel against Zane. He uses this card to fuse his 2 Psychroids together and fusion summon Pair Psychroid. Due to this card's effect, the attack of Pair Psychroid is doubled. Before Cyrus ends his turn, he activates Mirror Damage and equips it to Parapsychroid. On Cyrus's end phase, this card inflicts damage to Cyrus equal to the attack of Parapsychroid, but Cyrus activates the effect of Mirror Damage to redirect the damage to Zane. Zane then activates Fusion Guard to negate the effect of Power Bond and sends Cyber End Dragon from his extra deck to the graveyard. This card also appears in the flashback Jaden has when he revealed how he found this card in Cyrus's room. Season 3, Episode 137, Zane uses this card when he went to save Cyrus Truesdale from a Doomdozer. Zane uses this card to fuse his 3 Cyber Dragons together and fusion summon Cyber End Dragon. In episode 146, Zane uses this card during his duel against Jaden Yuki. He uses this card to fuse his 3 Cyber Dragons together and fusion summon Cyber End Dragon. Due to this card's effect, the attack of Cyber End Dragon is doubled. In episode 148, Zane uses this card during his duel against Jesse Anderson while the latter was possessed by Yubel. He uses this card to fuse his 3 Cyber Dragons together and fusion summon Cyber End Dragon. Due to this card's effect, the attack of Cyber End Dragon is doubled. On Zane's end phase, this card's last effect inflicted damage to Zane equal to the original attack of Cyber End Dragon, which won Jesse the duel. The card is also shown in a series of flashbacks Zane has when he remembers all of the instances where Power Bond helped make his life shine brightly. Season 4, Episode 163, during Zane's duel against Makoto Inotsume, Zane sends this card from the top of his deck to the graveyard via the effect of Power Wall. This card can also be seen at the bottom of Zane's deck when he looks at it before opening his window. In episode 164, Zane uses this card during his duel against Makoto Inotsume. He uses this card to fuse Cyberdark Horn, Cyberdark Edge, and Cyberdark Keel together and fusion summon Cyberdark Dragon. Due to this card's effect, the attack of Cyberdark Dragon is doubled. In episode 174, this card represents Cyrus's dark future within the world of darkness, as shown by Yusuke Fujiwara. In episode 178, Jaden reaches out to everyone trapped in the world of darkness. Cyrus hears his voice while in his dark future and then flips the top card of his deck, which is this card. Cyrus realizes that what Jaden says is true, as he hasn't carried anything out yet, and therefore he should not be afraid of the future. When Cyrus's unnamed opponent attempts to leave due to the Cyber-Style Pro League not being very popular, Cyrus tells his opponent to stop, as he will make it even if the situation becomes very difficult for him. Cyrus then promises his opponent that he will make this the best duel for both of them, and that no matter what, he will try his hardest to make his Cyber-Style Pro League popular.